Good evening and welcome everybody to tonight's Parent Academy. My name is Mariel Milano and I am the Director for Family Engagement with Orange County Public Schools. I hope everyone's doing well tonight. We are so excited to have you. I am going to be talking this evening about our opportunities for families to be leaders within our school district. And that's going to be something that I think everyone can connect to. So before we get started, I want to ask you, what is a parent leader? So I'm going to go ahead and put 2 minutes on the clock. And I'm going to ask you to think about what you think a parent leader is. And I want you to post the answer to that in the chat box. There's no right or wrong answer. Just what do you think a parent leader is? And think about that. And then you're going to put your answer in the chat box. All right, here we go. Just 30 seconds. If you're joining, go ahead and tell us what you think a parent leader is in the chat box. Okay, so I saw some great responses in the chat. I saw that Katie was sharing that it's somebody who helps to remove roadblocks and works with others to have the best possible outcome. And I love that response because ultimately that's our job as parents, is to remove roadblocks for our children. So thank you everybody for participating. I also saw that Sheila said involving in everything your children is doing. So that's also a great response. Here's a common definition for what a parent leader is. A parent leader, in general, is a parent who uses their own personal experiences and their knowledge of raising a child with mental, emotional, behavioral health challenges, or somebody who's been involved in other systems that represent family voices, maybe your job, programs, agency, to help make positive changes and help shape the direction of policies, services, and education for families. And ultimately, parents have had such an amazing impact in history. There are thousands of examples of how parents have affected the public school system, but here are just four. So you might not know this, but parents are responsible for the development of the first special education class in a public school. In 1933, a group of parents came together to say that they felt that their child, who at that time had disabilities, needed to be served within the current public school, not in a separate school, which was kind of the way students were serviced at that time. And because of their advocacy and their leadership, the school district started the first special education class for students in a traditional public school. In 1949, parents were at the founding and the founding members of the United Cerebral Palsy Association, or what we call UCP, which now has schools and services for students with disabilities all across the country. In the 1960s, parents were at the forefront of lobbying and advocating for a free and appropriate education for special education students. And their efforts led to the development of what we now know as the IDEA, Individual for Disabilities Education Act, which legislates everything we do in education for students with disabilities. And none of that would have been possible or potentially even thought of without parents advocating for their students. In 1974, parents were again at the forefront when we started to have students in our schools who were English language learners and who required services inside our schools, as opposed to just the sink or swim method, where if you come in, you have to learn a language without any support. And as a result of their advocacy in the state of California, there was a court decision that resulted in us being able to provide specific services for English language learners in schools. That's just 4 examples of hundreds of how parents just like you make a difference in schools every day. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, Marielle, I don't know if I want to lobby or be involved in politics and all of that, that's not the only way to be a parent leader. It's just an example of how powerful parents truly are. And in Orange County Public Schools, one of the things that is so important to all of us at the district office and as school leaders is that we have the voice of parents in education. We want all of your voices in what we do in our schools. So what are some examples of how you can be part of that and how you can share power with us? Meaning we can partner with you in decisions that affect children and families together and be a team where you and the school district work together to be leaders, to inform, influence, and create policies, practices, and programs. Well, there are 3 organizations at every school that you should be aware of. The first is called a school advisory council. Are any of you school advisory council members? Tell us in the chat. You can put a yes or a no. I'm a school advisory council member. A school advisory council is the organization that is run by the school and is a collaboration. It's made up of parents and teachers and school administrators. And what a school advisory council does is they help to make a plan for making schools better. And so each year they come up with something called a school improvement plan. That school improvement plan is the blueprint that the principal uses to help take their school from point A to point B. So for example, this year at my daughter's school, they have a focus on early literacy, literacy for kindergarten, first, second, and third grade. And the school advisory council helped the principal to set a goal for what they wanted students to accomplish this year, how much they wanted them to achieve. And then the parents on that committee gave the principal ideas and suggestions about the things that parents needed to help their students with literacy and ways that the school should spend part of their budget called school improvement dollars to be able to help students learn to read. That's a really big job as a parent, to be a leader and be able to give input on how the school spends money. The School Advisory Council meets every single month. And you don't have to have any experience to be on the School Advisory Council. You just want to have to learn about what your students are doing and be able to support the school. If you're interested in joining the School Advisory Council for your school, you should contact your school's principal. Your school's principal will be able to tell you how to join the School Advisory Council. The second group that we have in our school district that every school has is called a Multilingual Parent Leadership Council. And that is a council that is designed for families of students who are multilingual, who are coming from other areas of the world, and who are asking how they can support the school. So what do? They help schools think about how to improve their services for multilingual families. They meet every month with the ESOL compliance specialist and school administrators to think about how they can better provide services for students that are English language learners and for families who may be multilingual. They come up with programs and scholarships that we can use at the district level. They promote the multilingual spelling bee. They help plan multicultural nights at schools. They help for all of the school to think about the needs of multilingual families. If you're interested in being part of the Multilingual Parent Leadership Council, you can ask your school's principal how to join, but you can also reach out to our Multilingual Services Department. And our Multilingual Services Department can also assist you with that. And I'm going to put a link in the chat for you because each of our areas around the district has a specific parent who is a chairperson for the Multilingual District Leadership Council. And they help to represent multiple parents in their area. So there is a representative for the East, there's a representative for high schools, there's a representative for the North area, and there's a representative for the West area. And you can reach out to any of them with questions about how you can become a part of the Multilingual Parent Leadership Council. Last, but definitely not least, are our parent-teacher associations and organizations. This is what we call a PTA or a PTSA, which is a parent-teacher student association or organization. Parent-teacher associations and organizations have been around for over 100 years. And we recommend that every parent join a parent-teacher association. If you have a child that's in high school, they can also be a part of a parent-teacher association. This group is an outside organization. It's not owned by the school district, but it brings together parents, teachers, and administrators to advocate for a better education for our children. Now, why do you think it's important that schools have parent leadership organizations? Think about what I've just shared. What benefit do you get as a parent from the district having school advisory councils, multilingual parent leadership councils, and parent teacher associations? Tell us in the chat what you think. Please tell us in the chat why it is important for schools to have parent leadership organizations. You can reply in English or in Spanish. We have support staff in the chat that can interpret as needed. One of the reasons it's important for schools to have parent leadership organizations is because it gives us an opportunity to share power with parents, to involve them in the decisions we make about their child's education, and to get their input and feedback about the choices we make for students. It's also important to have parent leadership organizations because each of you have skills that you can bring to the table to help our schools. Maybe you're passionate about athletics or sports or community service or teaching students a specific skill. All of those are ways that parents can be leaders. Carla, involvement is an important part of the process, and so is advocacy. One of the reasons that parent leadership organizations are important is because it gives parents the opportunity to advocate for their students. Parent organizations are available to all parents. So if you've tried to join and been not able to or not been successful, and you'd like to share the name of your school or your email address, we can reach out to you and help you to connect with that organization so that you can join. So let's take a look at a couple of important facts for you to be aware of. So this comes from the National PTA, but it's certainly true of the School Advisory Council, the Multilingual Parent Leadership Council, and others. The bottom line is that parents who join parent leadership organizations have students who are more likely to graduate than others. Here's some startling statistics. The graduation rate for students of color with a PTA is 86%. Schools that do not have a PTA have a graduation rate that's 10% less, 76% nationally for students of color. There's also a significant difference for students with disabilities. Graduation rates for schools with a parent-teacher organization for children with disabilities nationally are 73%. Schools without a parent-teacher organization have a graduation rate for students with disabilities of only 62%. And what's more, graduation rates for economically disadvantaged students with a PTA on campus is 86%. but schools without a PTA is only 78%. Here's the secret. The truth is that parent engagement in their child's education, whether it is participating tonight in this webinar, talking to your child's teacher, volunteering, attending meetings and conferences, or using your skills in other ways to support your child, is a more accurate predictor of your child's success in education than the income of your family, where your family lives, or the parent's educational background. You being involved makes a difference. But there are a lot of myths about parent leadership and parent leadership organizations. For example, PTA. Let's dive into some of these myths and see if we can bust them and give you some strategies for how to be successful in our organizations. One of the most common myths is that parent leadership organizations like SAC, PTA, and others are only for mothers, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Parent leadership organizations are for everyone. Parents, guardians, students, teachers, grandparents, administrators, school board members, aunts, uncles, community members, anyone can join. In our family, we have 4 daughters who range in age from 7 to 21, and we have children in elementary school, high school, and college. In our family, both I and my husband are members of parent leadership organizations, and our high school children are also members of their parent leadership organization. Their grandparents have joined too. Everybody who has an interest in their education can participate. Another common myth is that if you join a parent leadership organization like SAC or PTA, you're required to volunteer. And that can seem like a turnoff for some working families. I'm a working mom. I'm working right now. And volunteering can be really challenging if you have a demanding job. If you want to volunteer, that's great, and we welcome you to become Additions volunteers. But you don't need to volunteer to be part of a parent leadership organization. Supporting as a member is enough. Participating in meetings, sharing your voice through surveys and feedback, and participating in discussion is certainly as important as volunteering during the school day. Another common myth is that you have to have a child at that school to join the parent leadership organization. This depends. To be a member of SAC or the Multilingual Parent Leadership Council, you have to have a child at that school. To be a member of PTA, however, the Parent Teacher Association, you can go have a child at any school. So you can join the PTA for an elementary school, a middle school, and a high school if you want to be involved in multiple levels. Another common misconception is that you can only join PTA in person or only join SAC in person, and that's a barrier for some families. And that's not true. You can join your SAC by reaching out to your child's principal, or the Multilingual Parent Leadership Council by reaching out to one of the contacts that we shared in the chat box, even if you cannot come onto campus. Additionally, you can join a parent-teacher association or a PTA online. You do not have to go to a PTA meeting or go on campus to be able to join a PTA. In fact, we are going to drop a link in the chat right now that is going to give you a listing of all OCPS, PTAs, and PTSAs, and they have a link to their member hub, and you can click right on that link and join PTA right now. Another common misconception is that you can only be a member of one. Like you can only join the school advisory council or you can only join PTA. That's also not the case. I'm a member of our school's school advisory council and our school's PTA. And you can be a member of both. As long as you are interested in participating in multiple organizations, you can join as many as you want. Now, another common misconception is that PTA and SAC and Multilingual Parent Leadership Council is most important for your younger students in elementary school, and that by the time your child gets to high school, you don't need to be a part of the school. That is not true. I have two daughters in high school, and they need me now more than ever. Students who attend a high school with a PTA or PTSA are more likely to graduate. And families who participate and support their children's education in high school have students that are more likely to be successful, have lower rates of anxiety, and higher rates of academic success. If you have a child in high school, it is never too late to join, even if your child is a senior. Finally, one of the main misconceptions is that parent leadership organizations are social clubs where people come and complain and bring their, uh, you know, complaints and their gripes, and that nothing really gets accomplished or they're not valuable. And that is totally false. PTA, SAC, and Multilingual Parent Leadership Council are not just social clubs. They're groups that are meant to advocate for children. The idea between parent leadership or of parent leadership organizations is that they build the connection and the community between schools and families. So, how can you show your leadership? Let's start at the classroom level. There are a lot of easy ways for you to show your leadership as a parent at the classroom level, even if you can't volunteer. The first thing you can do to demonstrate your leadership skills as a parent is be inquisitive. That means ask your child's teacher a lot of questions. If you're not sure how to get in touch with your child's teacher, you can use Talking Points. You can download the Talking Points for Families app for iOS or Android phones, and you can look up your teacher's name and send them a message. Ask them how their child is doing, how your child is doing. Ask how you can help at home. Ask if they need any help or support. Could there something that you could send in? Do they need any classroom speakers or volunteers? Those are all ways that you can help at a classroom level. You can also make suggestions. Maybe you would like to see the teacher share a cultural celebration in the classroom or help students learn to be more compassionate with each other. It's always okay to share your thoughts and ideas with classroom teachers. You can show leadership at a school level in a couple of ways. The first way is to respond to questions that are sent out by the school. Every year, OCPS sends out something called a Panorama Family Survey. This gives you an opportunity to share your thoughts and ideas about your child's school. You can tell us how well we're doing, how your child's school culture feels, how their sense of belonging is, if there are any barriers to family engagement. You have an opportunity to share with us your feedback. And every school uses that feedback to be able to craft their school improvement plan and make plans to improve for the following school year. At a school level, you can also share your ideas with your school's principal and assistant principal. You can share an article or tag them in something on social media. You can tag the school's Facebook or Instagram page to share your ideas. you can join the School Advisory Council, the Parent Teacher Association, or the Multilingual Parent Leadership Council at your child's school. Or join all three to learn what's going on at your child's school and be part of the decision-making process. At the district level, there are also opportunities to participate and show your leadership skills. You can come and speak during the public comment section of a school board meeting to share your ideas and thoughts with our school board. You can be a member of the district multilingual parent leadership council. You can participate in any of our OCPS town hall meetings where you can come and talk to the superintendent to learn about our different initiatives that are happening in the school and share any of your thoughts with her. And I will put a link to our upcoming town hall meetings in the chat. Our next one is at Evans High School this coming week, and it's definitely something that you will want to check out if you haven't already. They happen at every high school and give you an opportunity to show leadership just by coming and listening to what's going on in our district and asking your questions. The next one is on February 21st at Evans High School. You can also be part of our ESE roundtable meetings. Those are meetings that the Exceptional Student Education Department has with parents to get their ideas about how to better serve ESE students. There are a lot of ways that you can help and be a part of all of the work that we do. Additionally, we have something called the Family Engagement District Advisory Council. If you're interested in being part of the Family Engagement District Advisory Council, you can help us make decisions about how to serve students in socioeconomically disadvantaged areas and support their families, or even tell us how we can make Parent Academy better. If you're interested in being part of the Family Engagement District Advisory Council, you just have to tell me. That's the easiest part. I'll put my email in the chat box. Now let's take a minute to reflect. Here's what I want you to do. In the chat box, I want you to fill in this sentence. I used to think blank, but now I know blank. For example, I used to think I have to go to school to join a parent leadership organization, but now I know I can join online. I'll give you a moment to complete this. While everybody is putting their ideas in about I used to think, but now I know, I'll continue to share other ideas. Oh, that's awesome, Carla. I'm so glad you were able to take that away from tonight's event. Here are some other ideas for you. A great way to develop your parent leadership skills is to come to one of our face-to-face Parent Academy meetings. Our next Parent Academy is Saturday, April 27th, and it's at Edgewater High School, which is right downtown. This is an opportunity for parents to learn about their students entering middle school, high school, or graduating. It's also an opportunity for parents to learn about joining the school system for the first time in elementary school. If you have an opportunity to register, we encourage you to do so. You can find more information at parentacademy.ocps.net. Awesome, Carla, then you'll definitely be able to be there. Now, another way to be a parent leader is to spread the word and tell more people about this event. So I'm going to share with you the information about how to register. Okay, so you're going to be able to go to parentacademy.ocps.net, and I'm going to see if Gladys can also drop a registration link in the chat for us. So that's one of your first opportunities to be a parent leader. Another opportunity is to attend one of our upcoming virtual mini academies. Now, there are so many tonight. So Carla, for example, there's plenty coming up just for high school families. On February 22nd, we have one on college disability services and accommodations. On February 29th, we have one specially to learn how to ask successful questions to your child's teacher called the question formulation technique. So when you ask questions, you really get the answers you want from school staff. Next month in March, we have a session on the Florida Financial Aid and Bright Futures applications. And we also have sessions for preparing elementary, middle, and high school students for testing and mental health resources for students with disabilities. If you want to learn to be a parent leader, coming to these different sessions helps you to learn more about the resources available in the district that you can tell your neighbors, friends, and relatives about. Then in March 28th, there's a multilingual storytelling night for our families. So if you have an elementary school student or a relative, we can engage in bilingual storytelling together. Then on Tuesday, April 2nd, there's a Valencia College Accelerated Skills Training for graduating seniors who are looking for ways to have job-ready skills. We also have a session on April 4th for military options for graduating seniors. And then a special session on Hispanic serving colleges and universities on April 9th. I love that one. We also have our Orange Technical College options for graduating seniors on April 11th, and a session on free voluntary pre-K options on April 18th. If you know people in your church, neighborhood, or other parent groups who have children who are 4 years old, we want to make sure they know about voluntary pre-K. April 25th, we have another opportunity for a multilingual storytelling night. And then May 9th, we'll be sharing summer tips for all families with English language learners to read together. Ultimately, we want our promise to help be fulfilled with your support so that our students can be successful. You've taken the first step tonight by coming to learn about just a couple of the leadership opportunities within OCPS. If you're interested in bringing bringing your leadership skills to the district, you can also email us at parentacademy@ocps.net, and we can give you more information about the parent leadership opportunities at your child's individual schools. We can send you the names of the PTA president, the Multilingual Parent Leadership Council committee chair, the school advisory council chair, and we can help get you connected so that you can join those parent leadership organizations. If you have any additional questions about parent leadership, now's a perfect time to put them in the chat box. I'm going to pause for a minute to give everyone a chance to get their questions in. Okay, we want to make sure we get everyone's questions answered. If you'd like to post the name of your child's school or send us your email address in the chat, we can make sure to connect you with your child's school's parent leadership organizations. If you have any other questions about parent leadership opportunities in the district, now is your time to ask them. You can put them in the chat in Spanish or in English. Awesome, Sheila. We'll make sure to email you at the email address that you used today to register with the information about how to join the parent leadership organizations at Lake Gem Elementary School. We'll send you the information for the School Advisory Council, the Parent Teacher Association, and the Multilingual Parent Leadership Organization. If for some reason your school doesn't yet have a Parent Teacher Association, you can be the first person to try and start one with your school's principal. I know that Mr. Garcia out at Lake Gem is a huge advocate for families. Okay, let's see. Miss Lewis, Miss Munez, Nydia, Miss Lattimore, do any of you have any questions that we can answer? Perfect, Carla. We'll definitely make sure to send that information to you. You have a strong parent community at Edgewater High School, and I know that Principal Kreider will be excited to have you participate. Okay, great. Thank you all for joining us this evening. We are so excited that you are interested in parent leadership, and we will keep you at the top of our list for our next parent leadership opportunities. Robbinswood Middle School, Sheila, also has a vibrant parent leadership group. They have a new parent engagement liaison there, and we can definitely send you the information for the School Advisory Council, the Parent Teacher Association, and the Multilingual Parent Leadership Council there. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.